What's up, everybody? It's Luke Beller with the Sideline Scoop, and in today's video, I'm going to be taking a look at 3 Packers players that I really think are underrated coming into this 2020 NFL season. What's up, guys? If you're new to this channel, welcome. My name is Luke Beller, and on this channel, I talk about the Green Bay Packers as well as fantasy football. So if you're into either of those things, feel free to subscribe to the channel down below. So these 3 guys that I'm going to take a look at in this video are basically younger guys who I think have a lot of room to grow and who put up pretty good stats last season, who I really think will just really develop coming into the this next 2020 season, and guys I really think will outperform last year's stats. Even though they were good last year, I think they'll take another step forward coming into 2020, and that's why I think they're just a little bit underrated right now. So the first guy I want to take a look at, the first guy who I think is really underrated, is Darnell Savage. And when we take a look at Darnell Savage, a safety, he came in last season in 2019. The Packers drafted him 21st overall. We actually moved up to pick him to get him on our team, so it sort of shows just how much the Packers wanted him on this defense. And when he came in last season, he came in, was able to be paired with Adrian Amos, who is more of a veteran safety, and was able to really learn from him. And I think that really just helped him when it came to just his first season, when it came to the NFL, being with the Green Bay Packers. And so one thing about this guy is that he's super quick. He has a 4.36 40, which really allows him to just cover very quickly, move around, and just really do what needs to be done as a safety. And so when we take a look at how much he was targeted last season, really how he performed when he was targeted, he did very well. So he was targeted 26 times last season, and he allowed a passer rating of 71.1, which is pretty good, and a completion percentage of 61.5%, and held pass catchers to a total of 184 yards, and he also had 2 interceptions, 2 pass breakups, and 2 forced fumbles. And I think that last season we really just saw the beginning of what is possible from him. I would say that even though he's not like an elite talent right now, I think that he's going to develop into a very, very good player, and I think we saw just really a lot of that last season from just really how he performed, how well he did when it was, even though it was his rookie season, he put up some pretty solid numbers. And there's a few other guys who have really commented on his abilities and really what they think he can do and really how he can go or just basically perform coming to the future. And when we take a look at Mike Pettin, he said this offseason that the sky is the limit for Darnell Savage. And so I really think that, I sort of trust the defensive coordinator and really think that he probably knows what he's talking about. And so I do think there's a lot of room for him to grow. And then Adrian Amos had this to say about him. I'll throw the quote up right now. He said, talking about the playbook, he said, knowing what to expect the following season, coming into year 2, we have the same secondary. He knows where I'm going to be, who the corners are. He can make a big jump in that way. And so Adrian Amos also recognizes that Darnell Savage has basically had a year under his belt, and when any guys had a year under his belt, had the time to know the playbook, had the time to just, really work, I guess just understand how the NFL works, how everything sort of goes. They come into year 2, and that's why lots of players really have a better season when it comes to year 2. I mean, it makes lots of sense. Once you've had a year doing something, you really know what you're doing. Of course, next year you come in and you be a lot better. And so Darnell Savage is the first guy that I really think is underrated and will really do well in 2020. And oh yeah, he was also ranked as on the Pro Football Focus's All-Rookie team. So if you know Pro Football Focus, they measure statistics, all those kinds of things, and he was on the All-Rookie team. So that's good news. And the second guy I want to take a look at is another defensive player, and that is Chandon Sullivan. And last season, Chandon Sullivan did play. He played in about all 16 games, but he didn't start in any games. And so he probably played in about I have it right here. He played in about 350 defensive snaps, so about 1/3 of the defensive snaps, and he also played a good amount on special teams as well. And one reason that I think he really did well, or I guess one reason where we can really see how well he did, was the pass rating that he allowed when he was targeted. And when he was targeted, he allowed a pass rating of 34.3, which is one of the best in the NFL last season. And so when we take a look at that stat, of course, he didn't play as much as all the other guys, and so maybe that will probably regress in the upcoming season. But even just looking at that small statistic and really just how well he did when it did come to the ball coming his way, I think there's lots to be excited about and just really a reason to believe that he can continue to improve as a player and really show us just how good he can be when it comes to the 2020 NFL season. And he had 31 targets, and he had 11 of those were completions against him. So what's that, 33% completion percentage against him, which isn't too bad. Then he gave up 3.49 yards per passing attempt. So very good in that category as well. And when it really comes to him, I don't think it's likely that he'll really take over either of the 2 starting corners or safeties. I mean, it's a possibility, I guess we'll have to see. Hopefully we have a training camp and we can really see what he can do and see if he can take any of those roles. I don't necessarily think he will, but there have been people who have been saying that it could be likely that he could play a lot of plays at the hybrid inside linebacker position, and apparently he did that a lot last season as well. And so maybe we'll see him in that role when it comes to, defensive snaps next year or this season. So that's sort of the main reasons, the few things, especially that pass rating when he's targeted, just how well he did in that category, which I just think he's underrated in that way, and that hopefully in this next season, he can break through even more. And so then this last guy, who I've actually talked about in a couple of videos before, and so as you can tell now, I really like this guy. And so I won't go into tons of depth about him because I've made videos about him, so I'm going to link those videos below right here if you want to check those out. And that guy is Lazard. And when I was coming into making this video, I was thinking about looking through the players and really looking at who I think is underrated. And I just had to put him on this list because he's probably one of my favorite guys. He's just fun to watch. He's just a great player. And so I'll link those videos down below so you can go check those out and see really why I believe it in more depth. But I'll give you a little bit right here. But basically, whenever Aaron Rodgers targeted him on third down, he was 11 for 16, a touchdown pass and over 100 yards. And when you take a look at DVOA, which basically measures how well or just how valuable a player is at their specific position, Lazard was ranked 18th in that category. So, one of the top receivers in the league at 18 there. And so I really think that if he gets more targets in this upcoming season, which I think the Packers should target him more, I think he'll be the second wide receiver behind Devontae Adams. We'll have to see if that actually happens, but that's what I personally think will happen. And so just because of those factors and really the chemistry he's picked up with Aaron Rodgers, that's the reason I really think he's going to have a really big breakout year when it comes to 2020. And again, I'll put the videos down below. So if you really want to get a little more depth about him, you can check those out as well. So those are my three guys. I'd actually be really curious to hear if you guys have any other players that you think are underrated, maybe aren't talked about quite enough, or any players like that. I'd love to hear what your guys' thoughts are. And also, I really appreciate if you guys have any other suggestions for videos, any other kind of videos you want to see in the future. I will also love if you comment that down below. I read all my comments right now. I don't really get that many because I'm a small channel. So I'd appreciate if you guys comment, and I'll definitely check those videos out. But that's going to be all for this video. And I really appreciate you guys taking your time to watch this. Thank you for watching. But that's going to be all for this one, and I'll see you guys on the next one.